started.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Monday, August 14th, 2023 Board of Health meeting. We will begin with a roll call. Stephanie Granger here. Joanne?
Michelle Petoniak Crawford here. Sorry.
No, that's great.
Order.
Thank you. Joanne? Can you roll call in? She's not hearing us.
Can you hear us, Joanne?
Okay, we need to get this fixed so that we have our quorum. We do not have Sue Hanley or Megan Hughes with us tonight. Let's see. Joanne, can you hear us?
Joanne said she's having some mic problems, so.
Okay. Was working a minute ago. Try saying something, Joanne.
Can you hear us still?
Okay.
Maybe she'll rejoin. Technology is so frustrating.
Well, it is funny. Even after all this time, no matter how many Zooms you're on, there's always someone still on mute, including myself.
Hi, Joanne. Can you hear us?
Hey, Joanne.
No, not getting sound. Sorry, we have to wait to get Joanne able to join us because without her, we don't have a quorum.
Unmute. Okay.
Oh, we heard you.
Okay, Joanne's trying another computer. She apologizes and she's doing that right now.
Oh, Ray, you're muted now.
I can't.
I hear Joanne.
Sorry, I'm talking to Joanne, trying to help her. I have her on speaker on my phone.
Still no sound.
No, I just was not talking because I apologize to the audience. We're all set up and we were talking and my other computer just crashed. Apologies to the,
No problem. All right, so we'll try again. It's
All right.
now, where's the clock? 6:09 p.m. We'd like to call this meeting of the Monday, August 14th, 2023 Board of Health meeting to order. And we'll roll call in Stephanie Granger here.
Michelle Tonia Crawford here.
Joanne Belanger here.
Great. And we have Sue Hanley and Megan Hughes who are not present this evening. Our first agenda item is open forum. I don't
see any questions
Okay.
from the audience at this time.
All right. So then we can go on to approval of the minutes from June 12th meeting. Did anyone have any comments on those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor. Stephanie Granger, aye. Michelle,
Tonia Crawford, aye.
Joanne.
Aye.
Great. Minutes are approved. All right, so we're a little bit ahead now. That's terrific.
Maybe
So
my computer should just die more often.
we can, since the next issue may draw some attendance, let's take, Ray, is there something you'd like to present briefly out of order here on the new business, or maybe the budget task force updates?
Sure. So I just wanted to give you an update. It's that time of year for budget renewals. And this year, the town manager's office and the select board have put together a budget task force who is evaluating each department's budget to see where they can make some cuts and look at where we can make some improvements and consolidate services due to their projected FY25 deficit of between $8 and $10 million. So for our department, we are up for August 29th for our first budget meeting. Our department where I'll sit in front of the select board, answer any of their questions, finance, department's questions. I have met twice already with, the budget task force, as well as answered all of their questions, which have been forwarded to you all. So I just wanted to let you know that we send our proposed budget in this week. And we wait for questions. So, if you have anything you'd like to ask, again, as you know, we have asked for our public health nurse till full-time status for ARPA funding. Will run out in June of, next year.
There any questions or comments on that, Michelle or Joanne?
Nothing here.
I thought that, you know, we could get townwide sewer and then maybe we could decrease our hours if that's what they want.
One suggestion, I did make on behalf of the department is, again, I know they're looking to see where they can make some cuts or some unnecessary funding that's not being utilized. The opioid settlement funding would cover our sharps collection line item. So I did make that suggestion. Certainly we are able to cover that with opioid settlement funding. It's about $1,500 a year that we spend on sharps collection for both fire, police, and the health department.
That's great. Thanks for looking for ways that we can make cuts that won't be a problem. Okay. Do you want to?
I can go on a new business if you want. If you want to wait, it's up to you.
Well, we're like 2 minutes early.
Okay, so the renewal contract and a new business for the Merrimack Valley Medical Reserve Corps, or MRC. Nancy Burns is the MRC coordinator, which falls under the health department. Nancy, as you know, does a tremendous job with all of our MRC coordination. That's a volunteer group that helps not only with all of our clinics, but emergency preparedness and beyond. So her renewal contract comes every year. I just wanted to make sure that was in your packet. Again, that is available to the public if they want to see that. And it's level funded, so there's no increase for Nancy hourly. She is hired as a consultant. So that is something that I just want to make sure that you're aware of and what we're receiving for both SET funding and also for MRC funding. The next one is the renewal contract for the Public Excellence Grant, which is our shared services grant that we have with Acton, Westford, Lowell, and Jersey. So we are level funded at $291,000, which pays for our quality management coordinator. It pays for our community health and wellness coordinator, which is regional, Brittany Nash, and also our shared services coordinator. We did receive an additional funding for FY24, so that grant will go up to $591,000 for the year. The town will need just under $75,000 for admin for that grant, and that grant we're proposing a regional food inspector for all 4 communities, and also a public health specialist, which will specialize in licensed social work.
Oh, that's great.
We're waiting on the approval of the work plan for that grant, so just want to give you a little status update.
So you're saying that after this year, we've received the additional funding?
So DPH is a little behind with their contract
Okay,
this year and their work plans. So as soon as we get approval, which should be hopefully September, we'll get the additional $300,000.
and so that would be for those other positions.
Correct. Yep.
Great.
And those positions were proposed from all of the communities. And again, the grant will pay for their salaries, mileage, equipment, benefits, everything.
That's fabulous. Okay. Do we want to
You
pause
want me to keep
there?
going? It's up to you.
Why don't we pause there and go ahead and then we can come back to the rest of new business.
Okay.
So we'll take our discussion on the draft zoning bylaw amendment firearm businesses section 6.6 of the firearm businesses. So I attended the last planning board meeting and shared that the APHA and other organizations consider this to be a public health issue, that and so ask that maybe we be included in some of the discussion. And so we have before us their draft of the bylaw amendment. And I guess I'd be curious to hear what you, Joanne and Michelle, think about the amendment as it stands. And what your thoughts are.
I can say for myself as the health director here that I, want the public to understand for this particular zoning bylaw, we currently don't have any restrictions on a firearms business here in the town of Westford. This is an initiative to propose a draft to the board tonight to see if they have any kind of feedback or recommendations or have anything additional they would like to see added, whether it's a letter of support or, have questions regarding this draft. It's an opportunity for this board to weigh in on the draft, or to say their model that they're proposing here. So a couple things you should know, the highlights. For instance, there are 4 establishments that they're proposing that they're allowing their setbacks set here in this draft regulation, zoning bylaw. So let me just bring you down here so that you can see. This is the special permit criteria. They do have, as I said, several setback conditions that you must meet. You have to propose a plan. They're setting time limits. Things of that nature, and again, 4 existing special permits. That's just a little update.
So I had a couple questions. One, maybe Ray, you can respond to, or Joanne, I don't know, with your experience. It looks like this would cover, so we have 2 gun ranges in town, correct? And they would be grandfathered in and not included in the 4?
My understanding is they would not be included in the 4.
Is there a way to grandfather and include in the limited number or not?
I can certainly ask.
Because that would bring our total to 6, which based on the research that I've done is really large for a town of our size. And I think way beyond what I could support.
I would agree with you, Stephanie. I mean, I don't have a problem with a gun range where you go and shoot guns in a controlled environment, but I don't think we need any gun stores, personally.
So, I mean, I'll say that, the research that I've done, this is obviously a very fraught issue, but it is a public health issue. Suicide rates are skyrocketing. There is correlation between gun shops and suicide rates. There is correlation between gun shops and deaths in towns. And that's troubling. So there's data, there's research that demonstrates that when people have gun shops in their community, that makes them more anxious and they buy more guns, and that leads to more death. There are statistical and there's very limited research on guns, but what we have is alarming when you talk about numbers. And so for me, if it was 4, including the 2 gun ranges in town, I think I could get behind that number. Because we have 2 gun ranges currently. Historically, there has been a gun shop in the 70s in Westford. So if we're going for historicity, that gets us to 3. And there was concern about what's the word?
Well, is that where 4 came from? Because they could come up with 3. So they said, we'll make it 4, because my question is, where'd that number come from?
I don't know where that number came from. There was,
No, I-
they said it couldn't be 1 because then it's a monopoly. That's what I was looking for. But I don't know where 4 came from. And it's not 4, it's 6.
Right. Because they're not, and I realize that this is before us now. I would like a little more time to do some more research on this full document, but I guess I want to make sure that I understand that it's all inclusive. So if they sell just parts, which is what I thought at one point,
That would be one
this-
shop.
This was the shop that was coming in that was not actual guns, it's just parts that you could put together and make a gun. And the 2 and the gun clubs, I guess, correct? That we have.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what the business is, if there's a gun there, it's included.
That's what it looked like. They
Okay.
they
All right.
called out the different types of business. I think it's right there. No, it's not.
No, I'm trying to flip through it so quickly, I keep missing.
Firearm dealer, firing range, or gunsmith were the types of businesses.
Okay, so the one that's potentially coming is more considered a gunsmith.
Or right, that one would have been more of a gunsmith. Otherwise, it's firearm dealers also.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Michelle. I'm like, let's keep our 2 gun clubs and call it a day, but I suppose that's, just like
There's concerns about the legality of that.
right. So, with you, I would say 4, but not 4 on top of what we already have.
Right. So I'd be
Or
curious to
exclusive.
find out. I don't know, Joanne, if you Ray, if you could ask, is there a way? I don't know, Joanne, if you've ever experienced this in your municipal thing, if you can grandfather and include that in your total number. Because how do we do that with tobacco or, things like that?
Mhm.
I do support that the setbacks. I mean, I think 500 feet is the minimum you would want.
We did do it with tobacco, just so that when we set limits, we looked at the number of
Total
tobacco
we had.
licenses that we had, and tried to be reasonable in picking a total number. And we basically started, like, I think maybe 1 plus 1 of the number we had.
Right. So
time.
they could do a total number, because that's what we did with our tobacco, and say for including those that are grandfathered.
Yeah.
I can certainly ask if we, can recommend or suggest a smaller number or whatever number you propose. I do
And
know that
the number, I shared a few articles that there were mostly articles written based on material from the CDC and from some other studies that did indicate, like, there's above 4, the numbers go crazy in terms of the risk factor, the public health risk factor for death.
Yeah, and if we were a city of, 100,000 people, that may make sense. We are not. We're a small town.
Right. Unfortunately, it looks like frequently the cities have stricter gun laws
I'm sure they do.
about shops, and that the gun shops pop up in the outer urban areas. And that's really common. Like, I read that Chicago has 3 gun shops, but there's like 500 in the Chicago metropolitan area.
And look at the rates of gun violence in that area, I'm sure, is astronomical.
Right. Ray, you have your hand raised?
yes, I just wanted to let you know that there is a resident that has a question when you're ready.
Okay. In the
Okay.
Q&A?
They are in the participants. They have their hand raised.
They have their hand raised. Okay. So I think we can hear from people. I wanted to just say, sorry, I have it written. I'm using multiple screens, and that's why I keep turning. So I'm not printing everything.
Can I make a comment before?
Yes,
and
please.
I'd like to finish with the board before we open it up,
Okay, sure.
but I think from my standpoint, I totally agree with you that this is a public health issue, and the numbers of shootings in schools and other areas that are associated with either religion or race is just becoming numbing. And I don't want to see anything like that happening here or in the area. We have had our share of tragedy here in Westford. If you've lived here long enough, you know, we have a yearly event dedicated to one of our youngest residents. So, younger residents, she's a teenager. I don't think, I just think we need to keep that in mind throughout all of this and look at it from that kind of lens. And I read that article that was in the Ghostwriter. The high school kids are so concerned about their own safety. Children are so stressed about the safety of going to school nowadays. And this is not COVID. This is awful. And I can't even imagine being a kid nowadays going to school with the thought of maybe I'm going to have to barred myself in a room or jump out a window, and watching these kids parading, outside of the schools as they're being led away. I mean, it's heartbreaking and not a fan. You want to own a gun, that's fine. You want to shoot, in a range or at a gun club, fine. We don't need industry here.
Well, and I think the thing that was really striking to me as I was doing some research was that like I mentioned, there are studies that demonstrate that I'll read from what it said. Feelings toward guns are strongly shaped by fear and concerns over safety. In some cases, the fear comes from the presence of guns. Studies have demonstrated that increased firearm prevalence can reduce feelings of safety. In other cases, acquiring a gun stems from external fears, but it goes on to say that this becomes this, like, if they see firearm shops, then they get more nervous, then more people get guns, and then you have more problems. And that it's this cyclical thing. I'm scared, I have to protect myself. I get more, and it's not protecting. The statistics do not support that. And we do have to recognize that the town currently has no gun shops. So when we're talking about historicity and what is Westford, if that's the concern, if we can't go to zero from a public health perspective, I'm like, as few as we can have is the safest approach.
Right.
It says when residents see gun shops in their community, seeing the gun shop signals guns are present here, which could increase fear among them, and it makes them feel less safe. And then because guns are prevalent, and it's just a cycle that we don't want, and it's not safe.
The fear is the crime. The fear is the leading to crime, or bringing people into town that may be able to purchase something legally, but then commit a crime.
Right. And there is statistical support that is what happens as well. Michelle, did you have anything?
No, I would, agree with Joanne. I was going to mention the Westford Academy Ghostwriter article as being very powerful, and our student bodies are concerned. And I think we as adults have to take that very seriously.
Okay. All right, so are we ready to hear a comment then from a member? What I wanted to ask was to please remember to, if you're going to make a comment, you can put a question in the Q&A, or you can raise your hand, and please remember to state your name and address, and please turn on your camera. This is becoming more of a consistent practice that we would like to have with virtual meetings. And keep your comments succinct and non-repetitive, please. Diane.
Hi, everybody. Let me just get settled. Diane Wood,
Sure.
122. Depot join as a
Nope, we lost you. And if possible, if you can turn your camera on. You're muted now, Diane. You're muted. I see the camera. Thank you. There we go. All right, give it, not hearing you.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so it's more just some background information for those of you who may not be aware. The select board meeting tomorrow night, this is on the agenda. So Jeff Morissette will be providing an update that it appears to be, at least as far as the agenda, about 20-25 minutes. And I would think there'd be answers to a lot of these questions regarding how the Fletcher Club and the other ranges are being treated. So there's a lot of information going on. There are a lot of meetings going on behind the scenes. There's an opposing group at this point, and you may have seen the letter that Al Prescott had, and maybe not. So there is a letter out that was put out for the public hearing regarding what their position is. And it's getting down to what is the number that's acceptable for everybody, and does everybody agree on the buffers? And not only where they are, the number of feet. Are they 500? Are they 1,000? So those seem to be the two big areas. The whole gun range discussion, I hope, will be clarified tomorrow as to whether or not they would be grandfathered in or not. So,
Yeah, the bylaw says grandfathered, but it did not count them in the number total.
right,
from
right.
what I read.
And as you said, Stephanie, it then boils down to, the numbers up to 5 or 6. And we also have that outstanding application that's still live on Littleton Road, and he has 2.5 years, 2.5 years in which to fulfill that. So he can do that. Another point, and Stephanie, I think you know this, we've mentioned that Acton, the town of Acton, who is one of our market basket communities, did indeed pass at town meeting their zoning bylaw in May. And the process is it then goes to the AG's office, the municipal law unit, who has to review it and make a decision on it. That decision is supposed to come through within 90 days, which would be August 21st, next week. Whether or not that actually happens, we'll see. They may ask, the state may ask for an extension, but they have put before the AG's office and voted on at their town meeting a limit of 2. That just another frame of reference. So I don't think the community really has, between vacations and being preoccupied, had the bandwidth to even think in detail about all of this. And it's going to be coming really soon. The special town meeting is the middle of October. And right now, as far as the draft bylaw is concerned, there are 4 being proposed. And even 4 is not acceptable according to the 2A, according to that letter, that was written. So a lot of controversy. It's a real complicated topic. So if you do have positions, I strongly ask that you get them out there and make those positions known, because no one else is going to be jumping up and down on this,
Okay, thank you, Diane. So is there anybody else in the,
Not at this time.
okay. Then I think what I would like to say is that, I guess if there is a meeting tomorrow, maybe it would be worthwhile to say that I would like to make, how do we do this if we want to, I would like to say that I don't support the bylaw as written, because as written, it allows too many. And if they're discussing it tomorrow, I would like them to go into that meeting knowing that the Board of Health, if we're all in agreement, doesn't support it as written. So do we make a,
You could certainly make a motion and certainly ask for a vote.
okay, so I will make a motion.
Stephanie, I think we, I think we need to be very clear about what
The reasons.
The reasons, because we definitely want some zoning. We want this to happen. So we're not necessarily against the thing as a whole.
Right. No, I mean, I think that, I know there's been discussion about setbacks. I think setbacks are, we have setbacks for tobacco and we should
Yeah.
have setbacks for firearms. Um, but yeah, so I guess I would make a motion saying that I don't support the bylaw as written for the number of permits that it allows. That it allows too many permits, I guess I don't
Or-
support. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say we don't support it as written till we get clarification on the number of permits allowed and the what's the word? The like who's gonna be grandfathered? I'm trying
Other
to
grandfathering.
do it in
works.
my head.
Yeah,
And whether the existing two
businesses are included in that
businesses
total.
are included, or are they, or is it plus?
Right, so, okay, so.
I can't say that in English, but you know what?
I don't
Claire,
have
you're
paper and
looking-
pen with me, so it's hard for me to verbally write this down, but so
You're
then
looking for clarification, yep.
okay, yeah, so that I do not support, or I would like to make a motion that we don't support the bylaws as written until there is further clarification regarding the total number of permits to be allowed and whether those include or the existing businesses or not.
Yeah, the section is number of firearm businesses. So
Okay.
should be the number of firearm businesses in town. That's the section.
Okay, until there's clarification of the number of firearm businesses in town.
And
Include-
whether the existing is included in that number.
or not. Okay. Do we have that then?
Does that sound
We have
clear?
it.
Ray?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Yes, it does. Yep.
Okay, so that's my motion. Is there a second?
A
I'll
second.
second.
We'll both second.
It's a double second.
We'll give it to Michelle. All right, Michelle seconds. All in favor, Stephanie, aye. Michelle,
So,
Joanne.
Aye.
Okay, and then I guess I'd just like to ask us as board members, we are going to then meet next week with the planning board to do make sure we're well researched so that we can bring the public health perspective in terms of our reasoning with supported information. So that we present that well. I have lots of notes, but I'll try and
So I'll get that clarification for you. Oh, go ahead.
thank you. And
No.
Joanne,
When you're done, I'm done.
Good.
One, I'm not sure I can make the 21st.
okay.
But two, what, Ray, do you know, like where we are in the process of all of this? There's a select board meeting tomorrow night, there's a planning board meeting next night, like where are we in all of this? Do you know?
Right, so for the 21st, they're looking for clarification so that they can set this for town meeting. So, you know, at the time it was, you know, we weren't sure if it was going to be a letter of support or against, and certainly wanted to bring the discussion tonight. What I can do is certainly get all the information back to you, with it tomorrow and, have you ready for the 21st in the hopes that we have a quorum.
I
So
think it's,
for a
we
joint
have to have
meeting.
things ready for the special town meeting in October. So their planning board is trying to work with the select board and keep them up to date and
Correct.
engaged. And then we were going to meet with them next week because I asked that we be included in the discussion.
Is there
Yeah.
more public hearings planned? Is there other,
I think next week may,
I think the 21st may be the last meeting and I will double check on that. But I know they do have they do need to have everything ready for town meeting for October. So they want to have that draft complete.
well, I guess that's what I'm asking. So after this, are they gonna go back and make revisions to this draft that I have right here?
I will
And-
ask.
And then will it go back out for one more viewing
will.
before town meeting?
I will ask.
Okay,
I will give you the timeline. Sure.
yeah, I know, I mean, so in my job. We're kind of in the process of the same thing, not this topic, but another topic, and trying to get it ready for town meeting and doing public hearings. So this is why I'm asking, like, where are we here in this process? That I have an
I
idea.
think they're aware that they may be up to the very last minute with it.
Okay.
Okay, then seeing nothing more on that, we can move on to continuing our new business. We're at the Sandbox.
Alrighty. So the Sandbox Initiative is our Narcan emergency boxes. I actually have one. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not.
You gotta
Probably
take the
not.
blurry out.
Yeah, probably not.
Right in
So,
front of your face.
I'll send you a picture. Anyhow, so we have partnered, the state of Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Department, excuse me, I was gonna say the Department of Public Health, the Massachusetts Health Officers Association, has put together a Sandbox Initiative, which is the Narcan boxes with the Good Samaritan Law. So they have paired those together to put together a opioid rescue kit box. And so we are supplying one for each town building here in the community. That includes all the schools. That is phase one. Our hope is to make sure that a box, a rescue kit goes in all of our businesses here in town, and we will certainly send out invites to all the businesses and start with the 495 corridor. So we are using opioid settlement funding to pay for these boxes and providing lots of education, not only prevention, Narcan training for any business, for any town department. And so I present this week to the department head meeting to show the box and see who we can get for some help to get them up. So in the building. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Those are new. Our Narcan training opens to the public on the 21st. And so we've had to have several policies and procedures put in place as a certified Narcan distributor. We have already had people come to the counter that actually saw us on the state map. And I know, coordinating with Acton, they've already had 60 doses given out at their countertop. So we are anticipating that the public will be utilizing the service, and advertising starts this week. Get that out. So that's on the Sandbox Initiative, unless you have any questions.
That's great, though.
Conditions set for irrigation well installation at 5 Gould Road, Meadowbrook Farm. So this came up a couple of months ago, and I just wanted to give you an update. At the time, the 5 Gould Road Farm was part of our perchlorate map here in Westford. And so the licensed site professional and the Mass DEP have pulled this particular parcel due to the long-standing test results from the wells that are on that property for the last 10 plus years. So they have taken this parcel out, in which case the owner has asked for an irrigation well to be installed. We have set several conditions which were in your packet for the approval of this well. We worked with the licensed site professional and our partners at DEP to make sure that we put in every public health protection. So I just wanted to make sure you saw those. At this time, the well is, as of last week, we were waiting to hear when it was being installed, and it hadn't been yet. So we are making sure we follow up with these conditions moving forward. Annual town report for the health department. So that will go in your next month's packet. We are in the process of finishing that up, and that's, as you know, I believe we have 7 to 8 pages of all of our financials, our org chart, and all of our sections for each department staff person here, including the MRC, and it's a little update of what the health department has provided the town. So I just wanted to let you know we are in the process of pulling that together. Department intern updates. We want to thank Allie Walters. She was a junior at Framingham State, and she's finishing up next week her internship here with the health department. She's been with us over 200 hours, and not only has helped us with emergency preparedness plans, Also with what was called a Zen for Westford Academy. It's a national model where you put together kind of a area where folks feel comfortable, both teachers and students at different times, where you can go and just kind of relax, collect your thoughts, helps with mental health and wellness. So we have put together not only a manual, standard operating procedures, and worked closely with the Westford Academy. At this time, they're not able to put it in motion for the start of the school year, but we're certainly working with them in hopes that it can be put together for the school year at some point. But she worked really hard in the project. We want to thank her. Also, we have Zebian Lafreniere, who is from UMass Lowell. She is an undergraduate in public health informatics and technology, and she'll be starting with us September 6th. Working out till December, also 200 hours. So we
Great.
really love our interns, and they've been tremendous help. And this particular intern will shadow not only with all of the staff here at the health department, but will work under Brittany Nash, our regional community health director focus. And so we're hoping to pull her in with her skills in data analytics and statistician. So yeah, we'll see how we can utilize her.
I think it's awesome that you bring the interns in. They're a great asset to the department, and it's just a huge experience for them to have going forward professionally.
I agree. We were all an intern at one point, and you know, we really try to set them up not only to, you know, it's a win-win for both sides, and so we try to set them up with free courses and classes and certifications so they can build their resume while they're here. So yeah, we're very appreciative of their
Now,
help.
I'm a benefactor of a Westford Board of Health Department intern. My assistant
Really?
director. Yep. Yeah. Fabulous.
I hate to do this, but I need to excuse myself for just a few moments. I know that means that we have to stop for a minute, but I will be right back as soon as I can.
Okay.
Ray, can you put the agenda up so we can see what's left to discuss tonight?
Just a few more updates.
It was just a little cat interlude. Just trying to jump up on my lap.
Okay, sorry.
All righty. Okay, just finishing up with some of the new business. Mass Department of Public Health. So they have a community health equity initiative survey that's out for the public. We have put that out on social media and our webpage, and we encourage all of the residents here to fill that out if possible. That will be out until the fall. We don't have a set date for closure. That's put out by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and it is aimed at collecting input on the challenges that residents face in their communities and where they need resources and where they should be directed. So we just want to encourage anyone to fill that out if they're interested. For events and programs, our resident employee food clinics are already set for the fall. Those dates are up on our Facebook page and again, webpage, and those are for October 12th, 17th, and for employees on the 19th of October.
Will you be well, do we know if there's another COVID booster?
So at this time, we are not able to buy the COVID booster. They are still working on the latest and greatest COVID vaccines as of today.
So it will be just flu this year.
Just flu for right now. We're supposed to hear in mid-September if the new COVID vaccine will be out.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah, have you heard on a price? I haven't heard a price.
I haven't heard a price or for what age group yet, and who exactly is making it.
Right. The state will provide it for children,
Correct, 19 and
not
under.
for adult. Right.
Right. And if it does, if there is, I should say not a need, but if there are residents that are looking for it, we would be able to purchase it. Hoping that within reason, under $200 per person. So a couple things, Stop the Bleed is September 19th and November 30th. This class is pretty popular here with the community as well as with students. Gail asked our public health nurse that I mentioned this tonight, and that information is also in the packet and on our webpage if anyone would like to attend. But that's a great training that teaches you how to identify life-threatening bleeding and how to use 3 quick techniques for pressure packing and applying a tourniquet. So that's an offering from the health department. Also, the next one, hands-only CPR, AED, and choking class, that's full. Gail is providing that for kids that are 10 and under and their families. So I believe we're full at 35 right now. West Fest is September 24th, and the health department will have 2 tables there giving out both mental health and wellness information, but also the MRC will be there for blood pressure checks, cholesterol screening, and providing all kinds of education on our programs and services here. We always give out giveaways. It's a fun event, and they usually have between 3,000 and 4,000 folks that attend because it is a school event. So it's really a great time. A great way to reach the residents. Community health stakeholder meeting set for September 27th. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. That is something that our health department is working with our consultants through our DPH shared services grant for a meeting to meet with community partners and departments to pull together all of the Westford community health data, resources, and look at our needs and gaps for community health assessment. For old business, we have just the ARPA request. I wanted to mention to you that we did receive $20,000 to use for PFAS testing for private wells here in the community. And so we have worked on a map and quadrant the community. We worked on an application, and currently we're in the last process of working with procurement to see which best lab to be able to do that testing. That will be for 50 households here on private drinking water wells. So as soon as that program's up and running, we'll let you know. And we'll certainly advertise that. We do have a waiting list at this time. So if any resident wants to reach out to the department, they're more than welcome to. I did miss the 2020 on-site mobile vision clinic. And so our public health nurse Gail has also set up this vision truck that has services other communities. And it's a great way to be able to get your vision checked. They provide all kinds of glasses on the truck, and they're also can take up to 27 people per day. So we're excited about that. We've offered it to both employees and residents, and we're providing transportation for anyone that's not able to get to the track. That will be here for September 13th and 65 Boston Road, which is right here next to the town hall. So we're excited about being able to offer that service. I think I told you about the Narcan already, that we're providing that on August 21st. That will be open to the public. And all of the department staff have been trained on how to provide that education, anyone that should come to the counter, and how to log all the information. We have to keep track of lot numbers and things of that nature. We have partnered with the American Red Cross for the Westford Community Blood Drives, and those are also being advertised right now. And I believe the last item is the Community Behavior and Mental Health Wellness Committee update, which is a couple things we're working on. It's the educational campaign for Suicide Awareness Month, which is in September. So we are working with the SANS program. Also, our
Sorry,
mental-
I'm sorry, Ray, you said, what was that? I
Sorry,
couldn't.
I'm breaking up over here. Go ahead.
No, you just were quick. You said that the thing that you were working on, it went by too fast for me to catch.
No problem. So it's the Community Behavior and Mental Health and Wellness Committee update. So we are meeting monthly. Myself as the co-chair and Nicole Lafayette, which is our Community Health and Wellness Coordinator. A couple of things we're working on is our educational campaign for Suicide Awareness Month in September. We've partnered with the SANS program and for a couple things out at the Common, provide resource and prevention education, mental health and behavioral line demonstration. We just had at our last meeting so that we're able to provide that education to the public on that service so that it's available. And we're currently looking at all the mental health and behavioral survey data that we have here in Westford and looking at our community resources and where we can apply gaps, things like that. The mobile clinician, the ARPA funding is about to run out, and that is something that is being utilized quite a bit here in Westford. So we are working with our social services department and Nicole to see where we can apply for more grant funding for that.
Great, thank you.
And I believe that's it, unless there's questions for me.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? If we have no questions, we can say you guys are doing a great job. Thank you. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Michelle seconds. All in favor. Stephanie, aye. Michelle?
Aye.
Joanne?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And I guess, yeah. See you next month.
Yeah,
Thank
just,
Okay.
you.
We'll see you next week.
yeah, just send out the time and stuff and I'll try, but I may be away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have to post it if we're all gonna be there? Oh, it already is posted, right?
Yeah.
Nope, it will be.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks,
See you,
everyone.
everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah.